welcome to Paul's Little Room. Now I'm sorry that it's been a while since my last video, but I have been working hard on my 3D printed headphone project latest. So today's review is of the Hifiman Edition XS, and I've very much enjoyed trying out these headphones over the last 2 months, and I was very generously sent these by Hifiman UK. So let's go straight into the box. So along with the Aria, the Sundara, the 400 SE, they all share this box. It's a recyclable cardboard box, quite basic, not posh at all, good for the environment, but it's nothing special. So exactly the same. You've just got a picture of the headphone here, and you've just got very few details on the back, so I'll very quickly read a little bit of that. It says ergonomic and comfortable, and I would say this is very comfortable, but it's not as comfortable for me as the comfort strap models, such as the Sundara and the Aria, which have this strap. Neo Super Nano diaphragm, that's the same across the range. Super comfortable ear pads. I would say that these are very comfortable. It's simply subjective, it's down to your individual tastes, but yes, they're quite soft. Stealth magnet design, and if you haven't seen my other videos, the stealth magnets are flat on one side, and on the side where the air is pulled over, so the way the air sucks in from the outside of the cup, it's a curved shape, curved profile to the magnet, which reduces the number of eddies and smooths the airflow. So it's meant to affect the performance of the headphone. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. It depends on what you want to get out of the headphone. So let's open this up. Oh, now straight away you notice when you have this is you do not have the usual Hifiman cardboard box with the cable. Instead you've got a very nice travel case. So this is telling me that the intended use of these headphones is in maybe traveling with them. I must add, these are fully open back headphones, so maybe if you're traveling around and you have a serious need for high quality music on the go, maybe in your hotel room, then they're going to be very safe in this. This is a lovely box, very protective. There you go. It's very nice. It's got a carry handle on top as well, which is quite funny. It's very nice indeed, and this is a feature which is not included with any of the other Hifiman range. So there you go, the headphones themselves. Now another thing about the inside, you've got a little net with the very standard Hifiman cable. It's fine. People often don't like this who are used to more high-end headphones, but I find this absolutely fine. This is it doesn't have a lot of memory to it. It's got a bit of memory, so it's a bit junky, but this feels quite soft. The rubber, it's got quite a nice pliable feel to it. These are not color coded, the 3.5mm ends, but they do have a marking embossed R and L there, and then you just have a standard 3.5 end with an adapter. Okay, So that tells me, and this is a 90-degree, this is intended for use on a portable DAC dongle or on your phone. So again, portability. And in fact, these headphones are easy to drive. You don't need a substantial amp in order to get a decent sound from these. But if you want to get the maximum benefit, the maximum performance, I would still recommend using an amp. So let's plug these in to the headphones themselves. So you'll notice they unfold like this from the box. Very smart presentation. With these egg-shaped headphones, you'll notice that the audio jack tilts forwards. So when you're wearing them like this, the cable tilts forwards and over your shoulder. So that's a nice feature. It's meant to not get interrupted when you move your head. So if I plug these in, very smooth. The holes where the jacks go are actually chamfered. You can see it's chamfered set. I think that's actually for durability. So for people who are going to be unplugging their headphones a lot, you're less likely to damage the jack and the the socket. So there you go. So when I put these on, very comfortable. They look massive on my small head. So if I move my head, you can see very nicely thought out. These go over the shoulder and I'm not hearing the cable rubbing on my shoulder, which is a nice feature. Now going back to the design of the headphone itself, this has a metal grill, spray painted in silver. It's exactly the same cup and the same grill as on the Aria, which is, you might think this is a bit surprising going by the price difference, because this is a £300 or 400 quid headphone. You can get it for less, and this, when it came out, was a £1,300 or quid headphone, and they're using the same materials. This is a this part here is plastic. This is a more premium headband, mostly metal construction, but this is the same. So metal, plastic, okay. And then these pads, very nice, cloth covered faux leather. Are they? Yeah, they're very fenestrated. So they've got, are they fenestrated? Yes, they're fenestrated, meaning they've got little holes for breathability. And the Edition XS is no different. It has exactly the same pads. So rather than thinking you have bad value for the Aria, just think this is great value for these. You get a lot for your money with the Edition XS. One thing where they do cheap out a little bit on is this headband, which is the same headband as with the HE400 SE, which is their most affordable planar magnetic headphone, and it's the same one you get on the, I'm trying to remember the name, I'll just reach down here, the R9. It's the same headband as on their R9. Now the problem with this headband, there are good things about this headband. The problem is when you put it on, you get a pressure here, so you're reliant on the clamp force to hold these headphones in place. Okay, so if you do not have a lot of clamp force, what you're going to have is this is actually unique to these egg-shaped headphones. Notice it tilts forwards, and that means the weight distribution is actually wanting to do this. So it's a bit strange. So if you imagine you draw a line, the line from your head down, it doesn't, the natural balance point isn't doing that. It's actually wanting to do that. So as a result, this is naturally wanting to tilt forwards, and it doesn't feel very secure on my head. People with larger heads than me, you will benefit from more clamp force, and then you'll have less of an issue with that. So back to the construction of this headband. It's got a decent amount of padding, but you can feel there's a plastic construction inside. You do get that pressure point there. This is plastic, metal. Another issue. All of the models of Hifiman with which share this headband have that issue. You just need to know this headband. Just don't put your finger in there when you're doing that, because you'll clamp your finger in there. These are screwed in here, and these don't squeak. However, there's an inconsistency of quality control across all of the models with this headband. What I mean there is, now notice this is designed to pivot here. One of the R9s that I've been testing, there's a crunching sound here. It goes click, click, crunch, crunch, crunch. Okay, now this adjusts up and down. See, in increments like that. Can you hear that click? This varies. So, and what I mean by varies, if you buy 4 pairs of these, let's say you're a retailer, there's a chance that every single one has a different level of feedback. That this will have a different amount of resistance to these increments, and some of them will squeak, some of them won't. Some of them will be very tight here, and some of them will be loose. So it's just one of those things. Excellent design, just that little bit of attention to detail at the end of the manufacturing process. So I quite like the look of these. I think it's quite a beautiful headphone. If I had the choice, I would go for a in-between size. I would make this a little bit shorter. So let's talk about the sound. I'm going to compare these to the other Hifiman headphones that I have tried out. You might not have had the opportunity to try so many different headphones that I have, but I'm going to try to describe the kind of signature, the kind of sound that this gives, and how it might be the sound that you would like to give a try. Now, being a very large cupped, fully open headphone, these do have a very tall sound stage. When you're listening to orchestral music, you've got a good idea of the height of the room in a little sense. The depth of the room, I would say, is about average, and even though these are the same shape as the Aria, it's substantially smaller presentation than the Aria. So it does show the magnets have a significant effect on the staging. And as I said before, the pads are identical and the grills are identical. So it really is in the magnets. Now, if I was to describe a shape to the room the virtual room you're listening to, the easiest way to describe that is a D shape. Now, if you were listening to the Sundara open back headphones, they create quite a wide sound stage, but with quite an up front area here. However, the vocals can be quite thin, which for me is not the sound that I enjoy. These headphones, I would describe these as soundstage wise a deeper version of the Sundara, but narrower, so it's a bit strange. So what you have is, you imagine a D profile, and I'm trying to do this. Oh yeah, there you go. So imagine my thumbs are behind my head and these fingers are the front. So you've got the vocals here, and you've got some instruments there and in between. Now the Sundara is very wide. It's got, I would say it's got generous width to it. Now, even though the vocals are close to you, they lack a body to them. The instruments of the open back Sundara are lovely. They have a fullness, they have texture, they have a detail. Very nice. But there's a thinness to those vocals. Now, the Edition XS, it's got a lovely warmth to it, similar to the Sundara, but the vocals, even though they present themselves in the same location as with the open back Sundara, they've got more body to them. The vocals have more, more weight behind them. So if you're listening to rock music, this is very, very important that you have weight behind the vocals. I was listening to Iron Maiden, and if I get down the open back Sundara here, these do not do a good job with rock music at all. Classical music, fantastic. But anything, unfortunately for me, that has a high emphasis on vocals, it's almost like you've got the singer, and they're almost, everything that vocalist has is on a flat plate in front of you. It lacks a bit of depth, resonance and soul, and that's the same issue I found with the 400 SE. There's warmth to the presentation. Other than that, there's very good separation between instruments, and good separation between the instruments and the vocals. Now, the separation wise, these are about the same, I would say you can really see, you can visualize the separation, the distance between the vocalist and the instruments very well, very well. The layering of sounds, excellent. But the way the Edition XS takes this to a very much more enjoyable level, there's a little bit more warmth, little bit, only a small amount to the instrumentals. These are still relatively warm in the instrumentals if you amp them well. These take less amplification in order to get that body in the sub bass and the mid bass, and in order to get the detail, the adequate detail in the vocals and in the upper treble, these take much less juice than the Sundara open back. I would liken the power these need to about the same as these. The Aria Stealth do benefit from a very good amp. However, these are not very demanding. They take about the same amount of power as each other, and it means that you're going to be able to use more affordable sources to listen to your music from, you know, from I'd say from a start point, if that makes sense. If you really want to if you wanted to explore the full depths of what these headphones are about, get a decent amp. But you can use a portable DAC amp with these, and you can with the Aria Stealth. Now, back to that sound staging. These do have a little bit of that flat plate of vocals, which is similar to the open back Sandara and the 400 SE, but it has that body and that warmth. So I would say that if you are in a concert hall, you're listening to a small, intimate space with these, there's a bit of width out this way. It's actually got depth to it, so it's actually a relatively tall room because of this. But you're quite near to the vocalist, and that vocalist is stood with their mouth behind the microphone. If you are listening to the Aria Stealth, what you're going to have with that vocalist is the vocalist's the texture of the voice is opened out. It's more spread out across the room. You've got much more noticeable detail, and compared to the Edition XS on the Aria Stealth, the vocalist, it's not pushing the vocalist very far forwards. I would actually say that there's slightly more of a recess to the vocals in the Aria than with the Edition XS. But what you do have with the Aria is substantially more detailed. And then the sound stage, you've got the height that you do with the Edition XS, but the whole room is grander. You've got more space behind you. Somehow the magnets do it. You've got more room everywhere, and you have more detail everywhere. So things sound further away, but you can notice the different textures, the different sounds more easily. So let's be clear, these are very good value. These are an excellent headphone. They've got a characterful sound. They have a inviting warmth to them. They have a fun sound. They have a good amount of impact. The treble is not quite as impactful as with the Sandara Openback, and the treble I would say is substantially less impactful than the Aria Stealth and the rest of the Aria range. However, you gain a lot of benefits with the sound of these over the Openback Sandara in everything else. You've got more height to the sound, although these are slightly narrower than the Openback Sandara. That's the only thing you are at a loss with. Because the upper treble is less sibilant, it's got less sharpness to it, you've got a bigger emphasis on the sub bass, and you can enjoy music which really requires that a bit more. So for instance, classic rock music, I have not been listening to R&B with these much because I've been enjoying the rock music so much, but I did listen to some electronic music, and with a good amount of separation. You want good separation with electronic music, you want and that impact, you want that impact, and these do very, very well. So let's talk about value and intended use for these headphones. If you're the kind of person who just listens in a closed room, then obviously the open back nature of these headphones is not going to be an issue. And that's true with these and true with these. Money wise, if you're going to be willing to spend about £400, I think that's about 600 US dollars on a headphone, that's a fair amount of money. You want it to be reliable, you don't want it to break, you want it to be versatile. You'll find that when people want specific strengths in a headphone, but upper tier strengths in a headphone, for some reason they're willing to pay more. So if you go up the range, some headphones are very expensive in the £1,000 range, and they have a strength in a particular direction, but they do it so well that people are willing to pay the price. And then there are headphones which are much more of an all-rounder. The Aria Stealth, it's a wonderful all-rounder. Does everything quite well, and some things excellently. These are an excellent all-rounder. However, I would not recommend these as being the best headphones for classical music. I would not recommend these as being the best headphones for music where there's a lot of detail and emphasis in the treble that you need to pick out, and you want to hear all of those details. I would recommend these as a detailed, oriented, but relaxing sound. They're a fun, impactful sound, but they're not going to give you a chest-thumping oomph. They're not going to give you a massive amount of sparkle in the treble. They're not going to give you an enormous impact from a guitar solo, but they're going to give you strong performance across the board. So I would buy these over these every single time. Price-wise, you can get the Sandara for about £200. You might be able to get them for about £150 UK, so it's about 210 US dollars, something like that, if you're lucky. But they were around about 50 quid cheaper than these when they came out, maybe a bit less than that. They're a reasonable amount less than these, but I would be willing to spend the extra for these. You get the versatility of the sound. You get that more warmth, more body. I've got a very large rock music collection, so I'm going to enjoy listening to that rock music with these. And then, unfortunately, the open back Sandara are just on the wall, not getting listened to. I do have some classical music, but if you just primarily listen to classical music, then you're probably going to definitely choose these instead. And then you're thinking, well, at what point would I be willing to spend substantially more for an Aria, or even a more premium headphone in the Hifiman lineup? And to that I would say it depends on how much you value a versatile headphone where you can analyze and appreciate in detail the nuances, the textures, the energy in your music. And this, to some, can be a bit too much in the treble. You might say, oh, there's a bit too much emphasis on the treble, which is the same as some people say with the open back Sandara, but it's balanced out by a strong, detailed sub and mid bass. Now, being a planar magnetic headphone, all of these headphones, there's a different way that they play out bass to conventional. Let's go to a conventional headphone which is not planar magnetic. If I open this, you've got just a round diaphragm. This one's made of paper, the diaphragm. This is a Grado GS1000. It's a lovely headphone. Actually, interestingly, these are a dynamic headphone that sound, where's my Aria? They sound like a dynamic version of the Aria Stealth. So these two headphones here, if I was on a desert island, I'd listen to all my music on these, and you know, happily get rid of the rest of my collection. Anyway, I've gone off on tangent. You can see I've not planned this very much. Back to the Edition XS. Buy these if you can get them for a good price. Buy these if you enjoy rock music, singer-songwriter music, maybe. Yeah, because the vocals, there's an emphasis on the vocals. There's a nice amount of body, and I would say these come across as quite soulful. Buy these if you're looking for a upgrade over the open back Sandara. I'd say vocally these are much more similar to the closed back Sandara. I'm actually a big fan of the closed back Sandara. I prefer the closed back Sandara over the open backs, even though they don't have the detail across the board of the open back Sandara. These actually share a level of, I would say, character to the instruments and character to the vocals that the open back Sandara just don't have. And the same with the 400 SE. They don't have the character in the vocals. So there you go. Looking for character in vocals? Yeah. Looking for practicality, portability? Yes. Everyone will hear what you're playing. So if you're in a hotel room, fantastic. You've got this. Where am I putting things? I'm making a bit of a mess. You've got this wonderful carry case, and so you can just fold these up, carry these around. Oh my goodness, let's say you're on the road a lot in your job, and you just need to de-stress in your hotel room. Fantastic. And you can power these. Just buy a decent portable dongle DAC. You can play music directly from your phone. You're not going to quite get the most out of your music. It's worth a little bit of investment, and because these are affordable, you can spend a little bit of your investment in a decent dongle DAC as well. Whilst if you do have upper tier headphones like these, everything is going to be recommended. Well, everything that I recommend that you use with these, you want to just think carefully about what you pair these with. You want a decent cable, a nice cable. You know, you want the whole. If you're paying for, you know, paying £1,000 for a headphone, you want the whole experience to be, you know, special, and that includes the amplification, you know, the cables. Everything is just, you know, different level. Anyway, so what more can I talk about? A lot of people who buy these headphones, the first thing they're going to change is this headband. They'll swap it out for, now you can't swap it out for a Sandara headband because it's the wrong shape, but you can buy for 55 quid. You can actually buy this headband, and you can put that, there's no problem that fitting on these. So you think, okay, I've spent 400 quid plus 55 quid. It's still an affordable headphone, you know. and that's new. You know, that's new. Second hand, you know, paying less. And then to conclude, I'd like to talk about a company that I've mentioned quite a lot in my other reviews, Custom Cans. Now, Custom Cans are a company, if I can try and find a cable they've produced. Have I got one here? Actually, I think this is a lovely cloth cable by Custom Cans. They're a UK-based cable company, but they also do mods on headphones, 3D printed mods, and one of those you can get for 45. I think it's either 45 UK pounds or 35. I can't remember. I need to look at the website. There's a grill mod you can get for these, and looking at the reviews of that grill mod, you just take this off, you install that grill on here, and it substantially improves the sound. And then for just 35 quid extra, you're going to have very close to the sound of these with these. So then you think, okay, let's say you got these at a very good price. So you managed to get these for 300 quid on eBay, new, unused, and then you spent 55 quid, new headband, right? And then you spent 35 quid on that grill modification from Custom Cans UK, and then what you have is a headphone which feels as comfortable as these, and it feels, well, it sounds 90% of what you get from these in every single way. Perfection. You know, that's what value is about, isn't it? Unless you get these cheaper. So, it's true, I got these cheaper. I didn't get these cheaper than 400 quid, but I got these second hand, and I'll stick with these. I would be interested in trying out the Custom Cans grill mod for the Edition XS in the future. So unfortunately I can't do that on these. These are not mine. These have been very generously loaned to me by Hifiman UK. So maybe I'll buy a pair of these on eBay and give it a try. Or maybe Custom Cans will be better, you know, generous enough to send me a pair for review. That would be fantastic. So there you go. This has not been scripted. Maybe it's more entertaining this way, I don't know. So there you go. I very much enjoyed this. I very much enjoyed reviewing these headphones. 2 months enjoying these. And I hope you've enjoyed this review. So until next time, goodbye.